Welcome to Carrots Don't Scream When You Boil Them. I'm your co-host, Tiffany Beth.
And I'm your host, Karen Kennedy.
How are you, Karen?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, except we just had a really weird radio mishap. I don't know what happened.
Live radio, people. You're getting it live. This is what happens.
It's true. Anything can happen on live radio, including things the hosts can't even explain. Oh, my goodness. So we actually have a really good show for everybody tonight.
We do. So tonight's show, we're going to be covering a couple of topics. We're going to be talking about the 90-10 diet. I'll be walking everybody through what that is. We're going to talk about how to deconstruct your cravings. And then I'm going to share with everybody the 4 questions that you should ask yourself before you eat anything.
And those are things I need to learn because the question I always ask myself is, will it taste good? Why, yes, it will. And sometimes that gets me in trouble.
Well, I'm sorry to say that's not one of the questions, but I think that what you'll find is when we get to those questions, there'll be things that really help you in your quest to make good food choices.
Excellent. Excellent. Before we get going, I just want to give a shout-out to a couple sponsors, if that's okay, Miss Karen?
Absolutely. Fire away.
First, I want to give our sponsor, the Karen Coaching Center. Awesome Karen Coaching Center. As you all know, Miss Karen is fantastic. If you guys are looking for a healthier new you inside and out, and what's wonderful, she's not just a nutritionalist, she's everything. And so she covers your mind, body, everything. It's great. And if you go to the www.dtmwickedradio.com, click on the sponsor page, scroll down, click on the Karen Coaching Center, you can email Miss Karen and get a free 15-minute health history consultation. And she'll go through all the questions to help you reach your goals and become healthier and feel better about yourself on so many levels. You know, go to www.dtmwickedradio.com, click on the sponsor page, scroll down, click on the Karen Coaching Center, and just get started today because you're gonna thank yourself, you're gonna thank Karen, and it's just a great program. I cannot speak enough about it. Vortex Ghost Gear, if you're looking to do an investigation and you're looking for some equipment that's really good to use, again, nothing here is scientific, but it helps. Picks up on energies and stuff, go to www.dtmwickedradio.com, click on the sponsor page, go down to Vortex Ghost Gear, and order some equipment today. It's made by Bob Christopher, the founder of Ghost Detectives, where you can see on the WB and the CW, and listen to him on Tuesday nights on Ghost Detectives Radio. So that's www.dtmwickedradio.com, click on the sponsor page, go down, click on Vortex Ghost Gear, and order your Ghost Gear today. Also, Rolling Hills Asylum. If you are an investigator or you're just interested, Rolling Hills Asylum in East Bethany, New York, right outside of Batavia, is your place to go. It's so awesome. Sharon Coyle, who owns Vortex Booker, who owns Rolling Hills Asylum, she is amazing. She loves those spirits, and she loves that place. And I have to tell you, I feel like it's home whenever I go there. It's really weird. The spirits are very interactive, but fantastic. And plus, she's having an event coming up with Miss Warner Reynolds, the psychic and hypnotherapist. And that's the one you won't want to miss. If you have any questions or you have an ailment that's, ailing you and you want some help with it, Warner will be there to help you. And you can also investigate. It's amazing. I suggest going to the morgue. It's in Roy's room. It's fantastic. Go to www.dtmwickedradio.com, go to Rolling Hills Asylum, and email for your tickets to Rolling Hills or for the event today. So that's all I've got.
So Tiffany, are you ready to start?
We are.
All right. So the first thing I want to talk to everybody about tonight is the 90-10 diet. And there's probably a lot of folks who are already following some semblance of this, maybe didn't know what to call it, or some people who are just confused right now about what I'm talking about. We're going to unconfuse you. Everyone talks about the various diets. There's the paleo diet, Jenny Craig. There's lots of diets out there. The problem is we've always talked about is diets don't work. They're short-term. They're usually based in deprivation, things that you can't have, things that you can't eat. And the 90-10 diet has a built-in way for you to eat healthy but to still enjoy some treats here and there. And so I'm going to give you the breakdown of what the 90-10 diet is and how it might be the right fit for you. So the 90-10 diet has gotten credited to a lot of folks. Joy Bauer, who is a dietitian that's often seen on the Today Show, is credited with it. Tony Horton, who is the creator of the P90X system, has a version of it. Truth be told, I don't know where it originated. And there's lots of different versions of it. So what I want to give folks today is kind of the easy version. It's something that people can easily fit into their routine. It's not asking them to do a lot different than what they're probably already doing, but it's getting back to that mindful eating. So the premise of the 90-10 diet is that 90% of the time you eat healthful, you eat real food, whole foods, not a lot of prepackaged junk, and then you allow yourself 10% of the time to have some cheat foods, to enjoy some ice cream, to have some chocolate, to eat some potato chips, whatever your thing is. You're allowed to have that 10% of the time. What works about the 90-10 diet is that it's realistic. Any diet that forbids you to have something is an invitation for you to overindulge and to binge. There's always some kind of guilt involved. You've eaten really well, you eat a whole bowl of ice cream, and then you feel guilty, and you feel like you've kind of blown your diet. When you give yourself some leeway and allow yourself to choose some things that would normally be on the forbidden list, you get that feeling of control, because you can control and have something that you would like to have 10% of the time. Now, have you ever heard of the concept, Tiffany, of cheat days?
Yes, I think we all have them, whether we are really on a diet or we just think we're on a diet.
I am not a fan of the cheat day.
Uh-oh.
And I'm going to tell you why I'm not a fan of the cheat day. So let's say you've set aside Sunday as your cheat day, and you decide that on Sunday it's a no-holds-barred, I'm going to eat whatever I want to eat on Sunday. That Monday to Saturday schedule, you're still depriving yourself. And then on Sunday, when you have your cheat day, I have found that people tend to overeat and eat more than they normally would eat because they feel like they have to get it all in on that one day. So you're still operating under the all or nothing theory. So I've seen people go all week torturing themselves, eating lettuce all week long, so that on Sunday or whatever their day is, they can go absolutely crazy. There's a couple of things that I find wrong with the concept of the cheat day. One is, again, you're suffering through the week. You're operating under deprivation. Two is that you tend to overeat on that cheat day, and Sunday you might not be all that hungry. Maybe you're just having one of those days that you're not terribly hungry, but you have that feeling of all or nothing, and so you binge and binge and binge. And the third thing that I'm not a fan of is that it knocks your metabolism completely out of whack. And then you start Monday trying to start fresh, so to say, and it's just not a good way to shock your system in and out and in and out. So here's the other thing with the cheat day. Let's say you set aside Sunday as your cheat day, and on Monday you happen to go out for a very nice lunch with your friends, and the desserts look really amazing. And your friend wants to split a dessert with you, and you think, I can't do that because it's a Monday. So instead of having half of a dessert with a friend and indulging in something that you wouldn't normally do, you save it all up until Sunday when you're likely to now binge. Does this make sense?
It actually really doesn't make sense now that I hear you talk about it. You know, it should. You probably should just have that half a dessert on Monday. It's not going to kill you. You just what I would do is I would just supplement something else later. Like instead of having that potato with dinner, have cauliflower because you had a half a dessert at lunch.
Absolutely.
That makes sense? Is that better?
That's
so
exactly what I'm getting to.
Woo-hoo! Sorry, people, I'm sorry. I got it right.
It makes more sense to build in for yourself an opportunity to have some of those cheat foods. But you should have that cheat food when you're craving that cheat food. Now, ladies, I know, men, plug your ears. Women get PMS. Not all of them, but some of them. I know for me, I would mug an old lady for a Snickers bar about a week before my cycle comes on. And maybe that's on a Monday or a Tuesday. And if I feel like I need something on a Monday or a Tuesday, I should have it. I shouldn't go crazy and have 6 Snicker bars, but maybe I have one, and that satisfies me. That's my cheat. That's my 10% of my week, or maybe it's only 8% of my week, or whatever it is. But I know that it's only a one-time thing, and we're going to talk about deconstructing cravings in a minute. But I have it, and I move on. See, that's the other thing that happens when we tend to overindulge, is we eat the food, and then we obsess about the fact that we ate the food. Here's the thing.
I do that.
Yes, we all do it.
And
Here's
I do
the
a drink,
thing.
too.
Eat it, and then let it go. Truthfully, eat it and let it go. If you have a Snickers bar, eat the damn Snickers bar and let the Snickers bar go. It's okay. That's what's so wonderful about 90-10, is that you're only really eating the crappy stuff 10% of the time. It also really works with that whole concept that I've shared with you about crowding out. Eventually, you eat so well 90% of the time that you start to really crowd out the bad stuff. And I have a secret for you. The secret is that most people start to lose their taste for the crappy stuff.
Which is true. I've noticed, like, this week, I'm going through PMS, people. I'm sorry, I am. And like her, I would mug anybody for anything deep fried and smothered in chocolate. I won't even lie. This is the only time when I want something deep fried and smothered in chocolate. And I'm not saying I have a bad taste for chocolate. That'll never happen. But I did. It was yesterday, I was with my sister-in-law. She was going through chemo, and she was hungry, and it was during the early morning, and I was hungry. And I did not look for anything healthy for myself. I will be honest, I didn't. I smelled the bacon. I smelled the eggs, and I'm like, oh, my God, this smells delicious. I asked for bacon, egg, and bagel sandwich, and, of course, it was a little greasier than I wanted, but I ate it, and I beat myself up over it the whole time. And I ate it, but you know what? The rest of the day, I ate okay, but I beat myself up, but then, you know what, it didn't taste as good either. It didn't taste awesome. It tasted okay. And so my tastes are changing a lot because my diet has changed.
It also doesn't taste good when you're eating it and you're feeling bad while you're eating it. So here's what I tell people all the time. If you're going to overindulge, if you're going to have the pizza, if you're going to have the Snickers bar, if you're going to have whatever it is that you're going to have, you know what? Own it, have it, and enjoy it. And then let it go when you're done. You know, instead of wolfing down a candy bar because you feel bad about it and living with all this horrible feeling of I ate something bad, you know what? There's no bad food. All right, there is bad food, but let's for just a minute say that on your 90-10 plan, there's no bad food. There's better food, but there's no bad food. And the things that aren't the better foods, your 90%, your clean foods, it's okay to have them. And you know what? If you're going to have them, enjoy them. Enjoy what you're eating. Savor every last bite of it, and when you're done, let it go. Don't obsess about it. Let it go. The food's already been eaten. There's nothing you can do at that point. Obsessing about it and feeling bad about it is only going to make you feel bad about yourself. So eat the food, enjoy the food, and let the food go. And I want to talk for just a minute about what you do in the other 90%. that 90% of the time that you're eating well means sticking to clean foods. Those are foods that don't have preservatives and additives and chemicals. We're talking leafy green vegetables, lean proteins, whole grains, healthy fats and oils. We're talking about eating normal portion sizes and eating at normal times of the day. And a couple of quick things are choosing foods that only have 1 or 2 ingredients and ingredients that you can pronounce. So, again, you want to stick to those real whole foods that you know what they are. When you go to your 90%, you always want to focus on the good foods, healthy portion sizes, not overdoing it. And when you get to your 10%, which is your cheat foods, your things that are your junk foods, the things that you enjoy, go ahead and have it. And again, after that, let it go.
Now, question. For those of us who, you know, are being really aware of what we're putting in our bodies and how much we're exercising our bodies, is it still healthy to have that cheat day but portion out our cheat day? Or, like, not cheat day, I'm sorry, but we want that cheeseburger. Is it okay to maybe order the smaller cheeseburger, you know, so at least we're not, like, overdoing it so much to the, you know, to the point where we push ourselves in a negative way? You know what I mean?
It's always the smart choice to cut down and cut back even when you're having those cheat foods. And again, if you're going to have a cheat food, you want to have it, own it, eat it, and be done with it, and then think about what you're eating the rest of the day. You hit the nail on the head when you said that if you have the candy bar or if you have that half a dessert or you have whatever you have, then you structure the rest of your day so that you're not going over that 10%. So if you know you're going to go out to a lavish dinner at night and you're going to have dessert and you're going to have wine and you're going to have cheese and all those other things, then you don't want to also have the big fat cheeseburger for lunch. Have a salad for lunch. And let yourself be excited about the anticipation of having the cheat. Let yourself be excited about the dinner and the wine and the cheese and all of those things. And then let that go. The next morning, go right back to what you normally do. Eat your normal breakfast at your normal time and get back on your normal schedule as soon as possible.
Excellent. And you know, that's such great sound advice, because I know a lot of us beat up ourselves over, you know, oh, God, we ate this. But you know what? You're right. We should eat it and let it go. You know, not go absolutely crazy, but eat it and let it go, and just get on with our life and just supplement later. That's what I've learned to do. I supplement. If I have a cheeseburger for lunch, I'm going to have cauliflower and, you know, a piece of broiled chicken for dinner.
Absolutely.
Keep it even keeled.
Right.
But I agree with Facebook. You know, chocolate comes from plant, therefore it is salad. So I believe that chocolate is salad.
There you go. So I want to move on from that. I mean, the concept is pretty simple. I think it's easy for people to understand, and obviously as we get on and on with more shows, we'll talk about different diets and other diets, but this one seems relatively simple. So I want to move on to the craving part. When you have a craving, there's lots of reasons why you may crave something. Sometimes you're craving food as an emotional stabilizer. Sometimes you're craving it because food is entertaining. We eat because we're bored. We eat because we're excited. Food's what we celebrate with. But sometimes when you're craving a certain type of food, there's maybe a reason why. It could be that your body is lacking something that it desperately needs. And it could be that there is something something that's happening in your body and it's responding by telling you, hey, I need something. So I want to go through some of what the common cravings are and what might be causing them and some things that you could do to sort of mitigate that without going crazy. So are you ready?
I am ready.
Sugar cravings. When you're craving something sweet, sometimes it's the result of low blood sugar, or it's because you feel that need to reduce some stress. When you're stressed out, it's not an accident that when you're stressed out, you reach for ice cream or you reach for chocolate. Those are things that make you feel comfortable. They make you feel comforted. They're things that make you feel in the moment better. For some people, sugar cravings happen because you're eating too much meat, and your body is craving a balance, and it's craving something sweet for that balance. Now, if you're going to have, if you're on the 90-10 and you're going to have a little treat for yourself and you're going to have something, reach for some good dark chocolate. Try to stay away from all the processed chocolate, but get yourself a bar of really good dark chocolate. If you're not trying to have a cheat food, if you're really trying to stay on the straight and narrow, believe it or not, some whole grains like brown rice are really good. Root vegetables like sweet potatoes, you put a little bit of coconut oil, a little bit of cinnamon sugar on top will give you that sweet taste, and that may be enough to help balance out and help you kind of restore that natural balance in your body and help you with that sugar craving.
Now I have a question. What if you hate dark chocolate like myself?
If you hate dark chocolate and you absolutely need something, then go for a chocolate, like a milk chocolate, but don't eat as much of it. I know a lot of people who aren't fans of dark chocolate. One of the things that you can do to help kind of step yourself into that is to find some dark chocolate that has some different flavor combinations. You can get all kinds of crazy dark chocolate now that has caramel and sea salt. Some of them are orange peel. Sometimes that cuts kind of that really rich kind of dark chocolate taste. But if you truly, truly just hate the dark chocolate, build it into your diet, have yourself a little cheat, have a handful of Hershey's Kisses or something small like that that's already portion-sized for you, and go ahead and indulge if it's what you really need.
Awesome. Thank you. So I was sitting here going, but I hate dark chocolate. But on the flip side of that, you're not mistaken with the flavors, because you know what? Even though I don't like dark chocolate, I will if it's my only way, if it's the only thing that I can have at that moment, being that it's most available. I would have something like raspberry-flavored dark chocolate or orange-flavored dark chocolate, because that takes a bit bitter. It takes a bit of the bitterness out of it.
Absolutely. What about salt cravings? Do you ever have those?
I love sweet and I love salty equally. Chips, French fries, whatever, saltine delicious.
When you're craving salt, sometimes it's because of a mineral deficiency. Sometimes you're missing some key minerals and your body feels like it needs something salty. Sometimes people who take certain medications or supplements can crave salt. And a lot of times people have that crunchy, salty 3 o'clock thing going on. They absolutely just need something that they can crunch on, that's salty. And you know what? Sometimes if you have that crunchy 3 o'clock salty thing, ask yourself if you're angry about something. Believe it or not, sometimes for people when they're angry, they're mad about something, they're having a particularly rough time at work possibly, they want that crunchy something. One thing that you can do as an alternative to grabbing those unhealthy potato chips and things like that is to crunch on a nice, colorful, raw salad, a carrot stick. I know it sounds crazy, but I did it today, and it was right around 3 o'clock. I needed something. I was feeling particularly stressed out. I grabbed a carrot out of the fridge and a little bit of hummus, and I felt better. I needed the food. I needed the crunch. I needed that action of crunching down on something that was a little bit more hard. There's also a really great chip. It's a sweet potato chip, and it's made by a company called Food That Tastes Good. And let me tell you, their food really does taste good. They're amazing. They're delicious, and it will give you that feeling of a potato chip without having the potato chip.
And the nice thing is they're sweet and they're salty, but they're more salty than sweet. I love chips, and these things are fantastic. And they're low in calories, and they're actually kind of low in carb, and they have all the flavor and deliciousness that you want from a crunchy chip. Also, I want to say that roasted red pepper hummus and carrots are a delicious match. Fabulous.
Absolutely.
Also, I have another question. Now, for crunchy and salty, would like a dill pickle be okay? Because they're salty.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's a vegetable.
Yes,
so that's a great thing to have. Great thing to have. Now, Tiffany, I know that you're a girl who likes her cocktails.
Yes. I like to drink.
So a lot of people crave alcohol with their meals, and there's a reason why. Sometimes people crave alcohol when they're eating fatty foods because they feel like they need help with digesting those fatty foods. That's why wine and cheese goes together. Lots of people have pizza and beer because when you're eating a lot of fatty foods, you want the alcohol to sort of cut all of that fat. And sometimes we crave alcohol like we crave sugar because it makes us feel less stressed out. For those of you who
I'm sorry, I don't
for
like
those of you who are not for those of you who are not drinkers, or for those of you who are kind of trying to lay off, sometimes what you need is to cut some of that fat and kind of feel like you've got something that's sort of cleaning out your system a bit. So, have you ever heard of kombucha?
I have heard of that.
So kombucha is a fermented drink. It's fermented and it has about 0.5% alcohol, but it's loaded with B vitamins and a lot of probiotics. Actually, fermented food is very, very good for your digestion. That's why those probiotic yogurts like Activia and things like that are so popular. Fermented foods like sauerkraut or kimchi or kefir or things like kombucha are really, really good for your digestion. They actually help aid in the digestion. They help you digest some of those fatty, greasy foods. So if you're going to indulge in something like a giant cheeseburger or a greasy pizza or French fries or something like that, try thinking about having some of those fermented foods. Now, I'm not suggesting you put sauerkraut on your pizza because, ew, gross. But maybe go to a health food store and look in the refrigerated section, look for some of that kombucha, maybe have a little bit of that. You can get it in tea form. It's really lovely in a tea form. But think about some of those foods to help kind of combat your digestion issues.
Now, I have a question. For those of people who do eat dairy, digestion issues, what about the Activia? Is that something that would be okay for them, or is there kind of like hidden icky stuff in there that people probably shouldn't eat?
That's a good question. There's always hidden icky stuff in processed foods. And yogurt, those off-the-shelf yogurts are usually pretty high in sugar. So one thing that you want to be mindful of, if you're only eating a little bit, it's probably fine. And if you don't have dairy issues, it's probably fine. But keep in mind that it is a processed food, and they're usually pretty loaded in sugar. Kefir has kind of a bitter taste. Some people find it a little bit hard to swallow in the beginning. It's kind of tangy. It's kind of like buttermilk. You can get a flavored one, a blueberry, a vanilla, or strawberry to kind of help that. Or you can put it in a smoothie, and that will help kind of ease you into the taste of it. But if you're having a little of the Activia, a little bit of the probiotic, it's fine. It's fine. It won't kill you, but again, just keep in mind if you're trying to stick to a clean diet that it is processed and it does have a lot of added sugar.
Thank you. That's good to know.
Some people crave spicy foods. Spicy foods sometimes is less about a physical craving, and believe it or not, is more of a emotional craving. Some people who feel cold all the time or who feel kind of stagnant, not a lot of passion going on, they feel kind of blah, maybe they're in a rut, might crave some spicy food. One really good thing about spicy food is that there have been studies that show that spicy food help to rev up your metabolism. So if your metabolism is particularly slow, adding a little bit of spicy food might help. So some cayenne pepper, maybe a spicy soup, or maybe pasta that has some nice spicy marinara sauce on it with a little extra cayenne pepper or some red pepper flakes will help. Spicy food's nice in the winter time. I know, where you are and where I am, we're getting hit with this awful cold weather. Sometimes that spicy food is enough to make you feel really warm inside. And again, it will help rev up your metabolism. So you got a win-win right there.
I wish I liked spicy food, but I don't. Sometimes, once in a while, I did crave it. And it's funny that you said sometimes you crave it when you're feeling cold or emotional. But a couple times that when I'm feeling down, I'll crave spicy food, but then I have a bite and I'm like, oh, that was a mistake. I wish I liked spicy food, but I can't do it.
I'm not much on the spicy food either, and I kind of wish that I liked it, but it's okay not to. If you're craving it, obviously have it. If it's not your thing, then certainly you want to skip it. The next craving that I want to deconstruct for people are people that are wanting creamy foods or cold foods. So we've all seen the stereotypical woman who is upset, her jilted lover, and she's all depressed, and she reaches in the freezer and she grabs that pint of ice cream. There's some actual science behind all of that. People that are typically craving something creamy or something cold are usually wanting comfort. Now, I know that sounds counterintuitive because when you want comfort, you want to feel warm. But a lot of times people are feeling like they want comfort and they're looking for it in a cold food. So, again, it's your stereotypical ice cream. So if you want to have a little ice cream, have it. A little ice cream, I said. Go ahead and have a little ice cream. Again, if you're trying to stay on the clean eating and you're not trying to have ice cream, a protein smoothie that's nice and creamy will make you feel a little bit better. I have the easiest ice cream recipe on the planet, just like my easy cookie recipe. It's non-dairy and there's no sugar in it. You just want to take some frozen bananas, run them through your food processor. I like to put a little squeeze of lime in mine and some honey and cinnamon. And when I'm feeling really indulgent, I make that with a little chocolate syrup on it. And I'm telling you, it's the consistency of ice cream without all the fat, without all the sugar. It tastes really great. And when you pulse it in your food processor to the consistency of ice cream, you can't tell the difference. It's really indulgent without the calories and without the guilt.
That sounds perfect. I'm actually going to make that this week then. Now that you've given me all these recipes that consist of bananas, I think people at Walmart think like I'm taking stock in like Chiquita because I buy this by the pound.
Bananas are so versatile and they're so good for you, and I buy tons of them as well. When my bananas start to get a little on the mushy side, sometimes I'll make the cookie recipe, and if I don't have time or I'm just not feeling them, I'll peel them and break them in half, put them in a freezer bag, and then use them to either make the ice cream or to throw them in smoothies. So it's a good way, again, to stretch your grocery bill. You're not throwing a lot of bananas out. They're really healthy for you, and they're really versatile. One thing I want people to be really conscious of about those cold food cravings is that if you're having them often, make sure it's not a sign of dehydration. Sometimes all you really need is a glass of good cold water. So whenever you're having those cold food cravings, especially if you find that you're having them an awful lot, make sure have 2 glasses of nice cold water and see if that helps. If it doesn't, then clearly there's something else going on and you need something else. But a lot of times when we feel hungry, we're not really hungry. What we are is thirsty. And that cold food craving could be a sign that what you really are is dehydrated. And a couple of glasses of nice cold water will fix it for you.
That's good to know. I never really thought about it like that ever. And it's silly. I was an EMT, and you would think that would come up, but no, never does. That's a good tip.
And you talked about chocolate. And I know that chocolate is high on the craving list. High on the craving list. So I want to tell people about that. Chocolate is pure love. People love chocolate. They have that addicted to it. There's actually an additive in chocolate called theobromine, and it releases those endorphins in your head, which actually make you feel like you're in love. So if you're feeling like you love chocolate, you know what? You probably really biochemically are loving chocolate because of all those additives and that release of endorphins. Crazy, right?
Well, that's good to know. Whenever, your husband or your wife looks at you when you're eating a chocolate bar, they're like, oh, do you love me? And you'd be like, no, what an awkward moment that could be. Like, no, I'm just eating my chocolate. Don't take it personal.
When you're craving chocolate around that time of the month, so ladies, when you're PMSing and you're feeling like you need chocolate, sometimes it's because chocolate is high in magnesium. And that, when we're stressed out and PMS brings on that stress, you start to deplete your magnesium supply. And so your body is really craving, needs the magnesium, which you can easily get from dark chocolate. And again, I know, Tiffany, you're not a huge fan of dark chocolate, but dark chocolate is higher in antioxidants and it's usually much higher in that magnesium that your body really needs. So sometimes those PMS cravings for chocolate are actually a biochemical feeling of you're needing that extra magnesium in your diet, and you can get that from the dark chocolate or from cacao powder, or you may see things in the health food store. Carob is a natural kind of chocolate. Whatever your indulgent is, go ahead and have it if you really need it, because you're actually doing your body some good by replacing some of those depleted magnesium supplies.
Well, that's good to know. I never really thought about it like that. I'm so I love this show because you're so full of information. I think I speak for everybody out there when I'm taking notes, and it's such a healthier way to live. I mean, I'm still not a fan of dark chocolate, but I'm willing to find how I can fit it in to, finding a taste for it for all of these things that I'm learning that'll help my body.
Are you feeling better now about the chocolate cravings?
I am. I still love chocolate, though. I feel better about my cravings because now I don't feel so guilty.
Good. Life is meant to be enjoyed, and food is meant to be enjoyed. Food is meant to be something that is pleasurable, something that you feel good about eating. And, I don't want people to go through life feeling horrible about everything that they eat. And so I'm glad when I can give people things that help them enjoy their life, stay healthy and eat well, but help them really enjoy. And so I'm hoping that you're getting a lot of that out of tonight.
I am. Actually, it's every night I'm talking to you because I'll be the first one. I'm a foodie. I love food. I love the experience of food. I love trying new food. I love how food can gather people together because I love cooking. Like you're a mean cook, I love to cook. I love to bring people together. I love everything that has to do with food. So I'm a foodie, but I want to have that healthy foodie relationship. Because clearly I want to be in better shape. I want to feel better about myself and be healthy inside and out. But I still love food. And I always used to be ashamed to say it because of my size, but, I do love food. But I love the fact that you're giving us, new tips on how to love food, but love ourselves, too, and have a healthier relationship with the things in food that we love. And I think that's such a fantastic thing to do because sometimes you don't get that out of talk shows and out of other radio shows. It's one thing or another. And I like the fact that you're helping us embrace, a healthy relationship with food and a happy relationship with our own selves and with food. I think that's great.
Well, that's a great segue into the last part of the show that I really want to talk about. So what I want to do is tell everybody right now, go get a pen and a piece of paper because you're going to want to write this stuff down. What we're going to cover next is the 4 questions that you should ask yourself before you eat anything. So everybody go grab your pen, your paper, open up your computer, get ready to type, whatever your note-taking process is, because you definitely are going to want to write these down.
Or do what I do, get out your phone and text yourself.
There you go. I want people to get into the habit of being mindful when they eat. So often, we're eating on the run. We're not thinking at all about what we're eating. People write down what they eat and all those things, but that can be really cumbersome for some people. So I want to make your life easy, and one of the ways I want to do that is by helping you get more mindful about what you're eating, but doing it in a way that's not going to just drive you insane. So get your pen, get your paper, here we go. Before you eat anything, there are 4 questions that I want you to ask yourself before you eat. The first question is, what exactly am I eating? The first question is, what exactly am I eating? And the important word, the key word, is exactly. Because you can say, I'm eating a Twinkie. It's not enough. What's in the Twinkie? What is the Twinkie made of? What are the ingredients in the Twinkie? Because honestly, there's probably hundreds of ingredients in it and probably nothing that you can pronounce, nothing that you really know what it is. So the first question that you always, always should ask yourself is, what exactly am I eating? The second question that you should ask yourself is, where did it come from? Where did it come from? Did it come from a farm where a farmer harvested it, grew it, tended to it? Or did it come from a factory where some dude in a Tyvek suit pushed it through a conveyor belt? It's going to tell you a lot about what it is you're eating by where it came from. Food has an energy to it. I'm not a meat eater, as you all know. I do the vegan thing, but there's a whole philosophy about meat and where it comes from and how it was treated and all of those things. And I don't want to get off track here, but I want to say that there is definitely an energy to your food, so you want to know where it came from.
I agree with that.
The third question that you want to ask yourself is, why am I eating it? So why am I eating it? Am I eating it for entertainment? Am I bored? Am I fueling up for my yoga class, or am I fueling up for a run? Am I craving salt or sugar or fat? So you want to know why you're eating the food. And the last question that you want to ask yourself is, how am I going to feel after I eat it? How am I going to feel after I eat it? And not just how am I physically going to feel. Am I going to feel satiated? Am I going to feel guilty? Am I going to have gas all night? Is my stomach going to rumble all night? Am I going to have diarrhea after I eat it? So it's getting to the mindfulness of thinking about all of those things. What am I eating? Where did it come from? Why am I eating it? And how will it make me feel? How many times have you eaten something that you know damn right well your stomach is going to feel awful after you eat it?
At least, at least 2 or 3 times a week, if not more.
Right. And so that brings us to the question number 3. Why are you eating it?
Well, you know what? I'll be the first to admit, before I started this new way of eating and living, I would eat if I was bored. I had nothing to do, or sometimes I'd get anxious with schoolwork, and I'd, have to do something while I'm reading. So there's a lot of reasons. And then sometimes, I'll be the first, if I'm honest with myself, sometimes I wasn't even hungry when I ate. Sometimes I just ate to eat out of eating.
Mm-hmm. You know how many times I've said that, for me, eating has nothing to do with hunger?
Mm-hmm.
It does now because you know what? I have forced myself. I want everyone to know that I walk the walk. So the things that I'm telling all of you on this show, the things that I tell my clients, the things that I tell people who read my blog or read my newsletter, I'm not telling you anything that I don't do myself. I'm not perfect, by the way, by any stretch, but I walk the walk. And, you know, I've conditioned myself to start asking myself these questions. And I'll tell you what has happened as a result. I am so much more mindful of what I'm eating. So when I am reaching for that cookie or that candy bar, I stop myself and I ask the 4 questions. And I have found that by doing that, I would say 8 times out of 10, I put it back. Because what I realize is just what you just said, Tiffany. I'm not hungry. I'm not really craving the sugar or the salt or whatever it is. I'm lonely. I'm bored. I'm anxious about something, and food is a distraction. And I'm happy to say that 8 times out of 10, I put it back. And sometimes I won't eat anything at all because it's not about hunger. Or sometimes I am hungry, but I'll make a better choice because I've stopped my brain. We eat out of habit. People do a lot of things out of habit, but one thing they do is eat out of habit. So they walk in the door, they grab something out of the fridge, and they start mindlessly eating. And all that I want you to do by asking those questions is it pauses you, it gives you a moment to think about it, to reevaluate it, to assess it. And then honestly, if you still really want the cookie, just have the cookie. If you honestly want the pizza after you ask the 4 questions, then eat the pizza. But at least give yourself an opportunity to think it through, to give yourself that moment of pause. And then you know what? If you decide to eat it, then commit it to it, eat it, and then again, let it go.
That's true. And sometimes when you ask yourself those questions, like you said before, you either won't eat it or sometimes you'll make a healthier choice. Like on the way home, I had to stop and get gas. I was starving. I was literally starving. I was so hungry. And I went in and I could smell the pizza. I could smell all the yumminess. But I thought, okay, we did have pizza tonight with my mom. So I was like, okay, I can't have pizza now. And I was like, oh, but I could have a chocolate bar. We did have salad with the pizza. I could say, oh, I could have a chocolate bar. I could grab one of these Miss Debbie things. But you know what? I made a healthier choice, and I went with a Nutri-Grain bar. I read on the back of it. I couldn't pronounce everything, but it was less calories. It had some nutrients in it. And I said, you know what? I'll have the Nutri-Grain bar. So I after asking some of those questions, which I didn't realize you were going to ask those 4 questions tonight, you know, I made a healthier choice, which made me feel better about myself. And after I ate it, I actually felt fine.
That's wonderful. I'm so happy to hear that.
Well, yeah, I mean, because it's a conscious thing. You know, you never really realize it, but eating really is a conscious act. You know, sometimes it's not because you'll get so hungry you'll just grab anything, and then it becomes a conscious act once it's done. But once you start to kind of retrain your brain to think, and you can still love food and still think. That's the thing people don't understand. You can be a foodie and still think. And so I was thinking, like, I'm going to have pizza later. Not that I can't have pizza. I can totally have that slice of pizza if I want it. I'm an adult. I can have whatever I want. But do I really want to deal with my emotions afterwards? Because let's be honest, I will feel guilt. I won't let it go. But I had a Nutri-Grain bar, and I went, hey, that was good. I actually filled me up, and I was good to go. And so it's okay to be conscious, totally conscious, and think about really what you're putting in your body and weigh those options.
You know, people are more concerned with the gas that they put in their car than they are with the food that they put in their body. And it's so important, I think, for people to be mindful about everything that they do in their life, because we go through life on autopilot. I mean, I see some of my coworkers, and I feel like I'm caught in an episode of The Walking Dead. They're zombies going to get coffee or going to the vending machine, and they do everything kind of mindlessly. I mean, it's not just the eating, but it's part of it. And so in all areas, it's about being mindful of what you're doing, what you're eating, what you're thinking, what you're saying, all of those things. But let's take it down one thing at a time, and let's just start with the food. And notice I'm not asking people to write down everything they eat and measure their food. And I'm asking everybody to just ask yourself 4 very simple questions. It's not that complicated. Hang them on your refrigerator. Think about it when you're ready to eat your lunch. You know, put it on a nice little 3x5 card, laminate it if you have the capability to do so, and throw it in your lunch bag so that when you eat lunch at work or on the go, you can look at it before you eat. It's not complicated. It's really very simple. What I want everyone to do, what I'm all about, is making small changes that have a big impact. And this is a really small change. It's a really easy thing that you can do to just bring you back to center and remind you to be mindful. That's all it is.
I 100% agree. 100% agree. I love all the advice you give us. It's so awesome and it's so helpful. And I actually think we all, leave this show feeling better about ourselves than we had when we first started listening.
I hope that that's happening for everyone who's listening. I want people to be their best, feel their best, live their best life, and I want people to feel that, you know what, it's okay. Wherever you're at, whatever stage you are, wherever you are in trying to pursue your goals, it should be fun. You should be enjoying where you're at, enjoying your life, and I am so happy that I get to spend every Friday night with you and all the folks listening, and I hope that everybody walks away feeling really, really good and really, really inspired. So on that note, should we talk about what we're going to talk about next week?
I think we should.
All right. Let me give everybody a preview. Next Friday, our subject is going to be how to cultivate a pleasant life. I'm going to be helping everybody tap into their inner strengths and abilities, learn what they really love, and give you some really kind of easy, doable tips to help you create the life that you've always wanted. We're going to talk about how to get to happiness, how to conduct a gratitude visit, what does it mean to be engaged in your life, and how to really use your personality, your strengths, and the things that you're passionate about to really help you live a better life, feel better about your life, and feel better about where you are and where you're going. So it'll be less about food, although we'll probably have some food component because really it's always about food. But hopefully we'll give people some really fun things, exercises and tips that they can do to really tap into what is it that I want out of life and how can I really find some peace and happiness.
I think that is going to be an awesome topic. I can't wait to talk about it because I think we'll all, especially you, but I think we'll all have some really great, really great things to contribute. And I also want to remind people, feel free to call in and ask questions, or if you have a story to tell or if you have something to add, always feel free to call in and tell us because we want your input, and we want to know that you're listening and that you're taking in what everything's being said.
I would love for folks to call in with their questions, with their comments. I'm here for you. I mean, I enjoy doing this show. Tiffany, I love spending every Friday night chatting with you, but it's really, really about the listeners, and it's really about people getting what they want, feeling really good about it. I hope that after the show, people just feel good, feel like, wow, I learned something, it was fun, I had a good time, the host is really funny, I'd love to hire her. So I'd love for folks to call in. I'd love to hear from people, and I'd love to be able to answer their questions and help them with whatever it is they want, a little bit of extra support with. So I just want to remind folks to please take me up on my offer for your free 50-minute health consultation. I do them over the phone. I can do them in person. I'm located in Philadelphia, but I work with clients worldwide. I do evening, weekend consultations, so please feel free to take me up on my offer. It's a free 15-minute consultation that is really, really all about you. You can visit the website. It's thecaringcoachingcenter.com. On there, you can go ahead and book your free appointment. You can find out more about me, see what I'm up to, find out if I'm really your cup of tea, and take me up on that offer. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain by getting a little bit more insight, and hopefully I can help you reach some of your health, fitness, and lifestyle goals.
Everybody really do. I mean, go to DeChinoWickedRadio.com, click on the sponsor page, really scroll down to the Caring Coaching Center, look at her website, contact her, even if you're just curious for a question, not even for the free 15-minute consultation thing, get to know her, and it's just amazing. And we're so thankful for the listeners that we have, and, Karen, you're just so full of knowledge, and it's so much fun to do this with you, and, it's so great, and we're all learning so much, and really, everybody, go to the website and keep listening, and every week we have more listeners, and, Karen's here for you, and I'm just here to add 2 cents from, the generic side. And, thank you all so much. I think it's so great.
Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope everyone has a fabulous weekend. I hope everybody has a fabulous week. I hope you'll all tune in next Friday. And between now and then, go ahead and ask yourself those 4 questions and have an amazing, amazing, amazing week. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Good night, Karen.
Good night, Tiffany. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Bye.